The discussion primarily today is to discuss the opportunities for investing in election-based technology companies, not in finding political-based solutions. Let's start this off today. If you would like Ziad to make a few words, say a few words, and then we'll have each of the members of the group introduce themselves. So Ziad, to you.
Thank you, Stan. All right. For those newcomers to the Financial Policy Council, let me tell you exactly what is the Financial Policy Council is all about, the mission, the agenda, and then we can delve into that Project Liberty. We've been in business since July 2010. So this is not a fly-by-night operation. We have tens of thousands of followers. Our word has a lot of weight. Each one of the webinars we do has in the tens of thousands of viewers. The blogs, everything. We are totally independent. We're not backed by any lobby, any interest group, anything. We're fiercely independent and we intend to stay that way. What makes us different is the people. The reason we started this Project Liberty is, reason number one, is to institutionalize the business and start empowering and creating the next generation who one day will take over the National Policy Council. So it's a big responsibility. I've been the chairman for the last 11 years. Eventually, I'd like to give the mantle, and a lot of us on the board, to some other capable individuals who are like-minded. It's a transition that we are trying to create here. Our standards are very high. People get fired and hired very quickly. It's all based on results. What really drives us and moves us, the three characteristics we look for in people, before talking about all these concepts, these ideas, it's all about people. Do we have the right people on board? Do we have the right people who can take the organization to the next level? So brain power is important, but it's not enough. You're gonna have to spend the time, you're gonna have to spend money, and you're gonna have to have the brain power to do these three things. I will take it even further. I will say balls, brains, and heart. A lot of very smart people out there. They have no backbone, they have no balls, they can't do shit. They're afraid of their shadows, especially in the cancel culture of today. This is not the kind of people we want or we want to deal with, no matter how smart they are. Balls, brains, obviously, and heart, passionate who can spend their time. Anybody who tells me he's too busy, you know, we're not interested in dealing with him. You're not running General Motors, none of you is. And you can always find time. If you can't find time, we're not a priority. If we're not a priority, we have no interest. We have no interest in pushing people, in reminding people of things, etc. Self-initiative. We're all entrepreneurs, accomplished entrepreneurs, some more than others, others on the way of becoming superstars. So it's really the people that matter. This is our corporate culture. We have a corporate culture. This is not a hodgepodge of people. We put them together and let's see what we can talk about and do. No, we have to have the corporate culture, and we have so far with the board, and hope we'll have it even to a much higher and bigger level with the Project Liberty. We already have, I'm talking to around 15 people, more than that, I would say 18, to join the Project Liberty. They're all carefully screened, and they have to have those characteristics. Some of them have already been fired before even talking to them, because they have a very obnoxious attitude. Like some people think they're gonna come here and take as much as they want and do shit. I can vet people 1,000 miles away. I deal with thousands of people. I know the kind of people we want, very carefully selected. You have to think about the organization first, because the more you give, the more you're going to take. The more you give, the more you're going to benefit. It's not take, take, take. Some people say, oh, when I tell them about themselves, they talk always about themselves. No, I don't want you to talk about yourself. I talk about how you can empower our group, the organization, and take it to the highest level. You have to be selfless. This is how you become very successful. Not the Wall Street culture, everybody fucks the other, and the one who fucked everybody is the smartest one. The one who fucked everybody, I'm gonna be the first one to fuck him. You know, and this is on tape, on video. Rest assured of that. So it's extremely important. We take this very seriously. This is not, we've been in business for 11 years without any outside funding, by being very good at what we are. We always excel, always higher standards, always envelope. Nothing is impossible. We're not here to clip anybody's wings. We're here to empower everybody to take it to the next level. We're giving. We are, and I mean every word of it. I speak like this sometimes with assertiveness, and some people think, oh, it's too much. No, if you can't handle this, you can't handle it. We're very straightforward. There's no room for bullshit. There's no room for people trying to outsmart the group. There's no room with personal agendas. We will follow your agenda. We will embrace your project as long as it benefits all, not just you. Now, I'm not going to do a big speech, but this is extremely important for us to understand from the beginning, as I didn't have the chance to be at the first call of the Project Liberty. This is not all about politics. This is about money and influence. Yes, I admit, I'm always looking for more money and more influence. Now, I can finance any one of your projects. We have overall really substantial amount of money which we can finance projects. I can finance any project of yours of $100 million and more. So think big. Let's stop fussing around with doing a startup of $1-2 million, and then, yeah, we'll take it public in 7 years. This is bullshit. You don't make money here. You're going to start big. You're going to scale big. You want to use leverage finance to the maximum. This is what we do. $100 million and more. A recent project we did, we financed, Stephen, the Dubai Palm project, $3.5 billion. My company financed the whole thing. No syndication, no brokering, no placement, no nothing. It's our money. We financed it all. 3.5B, the Dubai Palm. I'm sure you know the project very well since you go so often to Dubai. This is our project. And we finance project as little as $100 million. So if you want to do an impact, start big. A lot of entrepreneurs don't go this path because they say, oh, it's too much to raise this money. Let me do a startup. Fuck startups. Go for something very big. We'll get you the backing to execute on that. That's this is how we can do. So we get to this influence by making money. And money is not because of our love of money, because money is freedom. Freedom to do whatever the fuck you want, whenever you want, without being accountable to a boss, to a company, to a lobbying group, to an interest group, but rather to tell them all, go fuck yourself, I don't need you. This is it. Balls, brains, and heart. Passionate, with a desire to change the world, with the means to do it. We have the means. I can assure you that, and I can show you that, the proof of funds, what we can do and what we do. So think very big. Stop thinking small. Stop thinking like these startup entrepreneurs want to start their little chingle and do this and that. The more money we make, the more influence we have. The more influence we have, the more we can dictate things. we can do things happen. We don't want to do politics, as Stan said. We don't want to be involved in politics. We are the power brokers. We're not the politicians. We are the ones behind the scenes. We make things happen. We fund projects. We create wealth. We do seminars. We empower people. It's a positive force. Positive, lethal fucking force. Says now we're not here for the hobby or for the game, etc. I commend Tim, who arranged the webinar with the CIA people. No nonprofit organization can organize a webinar like that with the head of 25 years director of the Central Intelligence Agency. No fucking nonprofit can do that. They're all into their theories. Oh, Milton Friedman said this and this guy said that. I don't give a shit. They're all dead. They don't make you money. These guys don't make you money. I have no respect for bankers, economists, lawyers, all this shit, because they have no skin in the game. They don't know how to make money. They pontificate. We're not here to pontificate, but rather to create these, to create action, to do action, to be actionable. We have great ideas. Let's put them to work. We can discuss ideas and theories from now till next century. If we don't have the money to put it behind it, if we don't have the money, the entrepreneurs to be able to manage and scale those operations, we will never make money. We will never have an influence. We will never have money. We will be like 99.9% of the nonprofit out there. I don't run it like a nonprofit. I run it like a profit organization, although it's nonprofit. Not only profit for the organization, we've never been in red in our whole history of 11 years. Never. There's not one nonprofit who said never be in red, always in black. And for the entrepreneurs themselves and the board members themselves, they're here. We're here to empower them. And you know, these guys sometimes they have an idea, they go, they get to meet all these people at FPC, then they take it to one guy and see they try to swing a fast one. It doesn't work. We're here to help. We're not here to take ideas from you, to steal your ideas, to do anything like that. I really don't give a shit about that. I'm here to do deals. I'm here to make money. I'm here to get more influence. I'm here to crush all the liberal social motherfuckers out there, you know, with their theories that don't work, that have no legs. This is it. It's a positive, lethal force. And all the people who come on the phone, oh, I have problems with this. Don't talk to me about your problems. Because you bore me. And I'm not Virgin Mary here to solve your problems, but rather solutions. Ziad, I have this idea, I have this solution. How can we make it happen? Let's make it happen. Brilliant. Like Vlad came in with a great idea for the Financial Products Council, the Liberty Project, as to how we're going to build this with this group in fintech, etc. Brilliant. Come up with solutions. We'll help you make them happen. We're going to end up having on the board like maybe 18 people, and on the Project Liberty, maybe 30 people. That's around 50 people. 50 people who have that same kind of commitment, who have the brains, who have the resources, who have the attitude. That's pretty strong. So, you know, regarding the election integrity, I'll revert back to all of you. Look, we want to invest in things and build things that matter. A lot of people go and invest. They don't know what to invest in. They don't know what the exit. They don't know why they're doing it. The question is, everything we do is not because you're going to make money. Why you're doing it? What is the reason you're doing what you're doing? That's the key. With a lot of entrepreneurs don't ask themselves, why are they doing this? They have no reason. Just because it's hip, it's cool, it's a sexy technology, and I'm going to make a lot of money. This is not how you make real money. You have to have a clear-cut, laser-like agenda, why you're doing it, and then rally around you the right resources to do it. And we are the right resources. We have survived all this shit, you know, COVID, no this, no that. We are in the middle of, you know, we have survived all the socialist, liberal agendas. And we are still, we have our voices high. You want to write a book? Go ahead, write one. We'll help you. We'll introduce you to a publisher. You want to do something? Go ahead. We are one family. We are one unit. There is no prima donna here. There's no room for a prima donna. And anybody who wants to do prima donna, I'll cut his fucking balls, literally. You know, yes, I know not a lot of founders of nonprofit will talk like this because they have to be really correct. I don't give a rat's ass. What I care about is results, is action. You can say whatever you want here. You can say what you feel. Be real. Don't be fake. Don't lie. Don't go around. Don't. Be real. Be real, and you will be very respected if you're real, because people know what to expect. So regarding election integrity, this is what matters. It matters. It's all about that. You know, you want the right vote, you want one. So we need to build something, whether around that topic or another topic, any great idea. We're not going to limit you with ideas. You guys are big boys. We're not here to tell you what to do. You're here to tell us all as a group what you would like to do, what you can do, and we'll get the funding and we'll get the resources and we'll make it happen. This is a family. We're not here to teaching young kids to say, oh, this is how you have, we'll never tell you what to say, what to do, or how to think. No, you have to come up with this. And being shy and silent and listening without any feedback is a huge turnoff. Meaning either you don't understand shit or you're an idiot. Like all these guys who attended the last seminar or webinar with Tim about the CIA, when I asked at the end any questions, very few people had questions. Either they were intimidated and speechless, or they're a bunch of fucking morons who understand nothing, or it's totally went over their head. Show your character, no matter what it is. It's very refreshing, it's very empowering. I'm talking to you as friends here. I'm not trying to patronize you or anything. Some people will view it like this because they're insecure, stupid assholes. That's why. Because they were taught in school to listen to the boss. Because of the fucking cult of our personality in this country. Oh, Warren Buffett said that. Oh my God, he's the oracle of Omaha. You have to listen to him. He's like God. Or like some other, Goldman Sachs said this. Fuck them. They're human beings. They make more errors than you and me, and they're not gods. Challenge them. Challenge. Keep challenging. Never take anything for granted. Keep challenging all the time. Keep pushing the envelope. That's pretty much what I have to say. I can add more later, but I want to leave the floor to all of you to be exactly who you are, to tell us exactly who you are, what you want to do, how you want to do it, why do you want to do it, and bring in people on board who think alike. Can you imagine if we have people like this, 100 people who think alike and who are working along the same lines? That's lethal. This is not okay because it's very difficult to find 100 people who think like this and who are not going to be swayed by anything else. That's the corporate culture. That's pretty much what I have to say.
Thank you, Ziad. Thank you. Sorry. Just to add a few words to that before I ask, each of the participants to give us a little background on themselves. As Ziad has said, if you just come here to talk and you don't go out and do anything, nothing is ever going to get done unless you actively involve yourself and participate. An organization won't grow, it'll stagnate. And so each of you is participating in these discussions, and hopefully you're going to go out and do something about it. And if you do something about it, then change occurs. If you don't do something about things, change never occurs. Also, in some of the projects that Ziad is referring to, there are some important things which I won't say he left out because he did, not necessarily refer to them specifically, but alluded to them. And so what are we looking for? We're looking for a team. You can't get anything done unless there's a team. No investor is going to give you 1 red cent for any project, no matter how good that project is, unless you've got the team to back it up. And so when you come to Ziad, when you have ideas, just make sure that you have a very strong team behind you, and that that team has a function, that you have a plan, and a very solid plan, and you're prepared to defend your plan. Also, the project, make sure that the project is a strong project, that there is a big upside to it, and there is a lot of money to be made by astute investors. Last thing, skin in the game. If you don't have skin in the game, then you shouldn't be in the game, because no investor is going to work with you unless you have the team, unless you have the project, and unless you have your skin in the game. And I'm not talking about sweat equity, I'm talking about that. So with that in mind, I'd like to start off with our, I won't say our newest, but our first time attendee. Stefan, why don't you give us a little background on you, Steph?
Thanks. By the way, Ziad, I love this because people don't usually talk direct. And I tell people I'm not politically correct, I'm politically direct.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have to be politically correct and appease people, but I like doing direct things. So on my side, lifelong entrepreneur. I started 11 companies. I've had 3 that were public, but to be very clear, OTC. So I like over the counter, quicker liquidity, bigger appreciation. I know how to kind of execute in the gap. 5 companies I've started. I'm the first one in the world to ever do something technologically, which isn't always a good thing, but sometimes helps. I read a little under 400 books in 6 years in my 20s when I was training under Sandy Weil and Pete Dawkins and Joe Plumeri in my early 20s. So I have a really unique background between public markets, enterprise executive startups, and taking my own companies public, and then a lot of blockchain, crypto, fintech. I helped write the laws in Malta and just recently got done in Bermuda, crafting what are called virtual financial assets, a gap between securities and utility. And so I always like doing things that are way outside the box, usually 10 years ahead. But I'm used to doing what I call retrospective evolution. I can look at what's worked in the past and evolve that into new technology. And then I use legacy language to teach the old guys how to do it in a new way. I don't go and telling them they're dumb or stupid. I just sort of move them along in a new paradigm of thinking.
Where were you hiding all this time? It's a breath of fresh air, Stephen. Where the hell were you hiding? This is awesome, man.
You know what happens, Ziad, when you're working a lot, you tend to sort of be cautious of your time. But I really wanted to participate in this group, but I spent a lot of time on the companies we build and trying to change the world different ways.
Yeah,
so thank you again.
We'll always find time. We'll always find time. Everybody's busy. I respect that. But if you want to take it to the next level by meeting, interacting with like-minded people like you, I think that's not a waste of time at all. That's a very well spent, because you will learn a thing or two, if not more.
The challenge, Ziad, if I would, if I may, I'll close with this. A lot of groups don't have the brain power or the weight or the honesty to be involved. I mean, I'm involved in TED. I've been in CGI. I skipped Davos. I'm going to the Qatar, and I run in that upper echelon.
Yeah.
But not everybody's honest in there, and not everybody's actionable. So I like groups that are honest and actionable. And politics aside, I want to get things done, but you need the right-minded people to do it.
I love it, Stephen.
So
I love it. I love it. I'm happy to discover you here. This is awesome. I really listen. I don't miss my words. When I like somebody, I say it. When I don't, I tell them, get the fuck out of here. Very simple.
Ziad, I felt Stephen will be a good fit here, and we cheers.
Excellent. Thank you, Harry.
And I'm glad you came on board, Stephen. I know it took some time, but you are here.
I thank you for the introduction, Harry. Stephen, welcome on board. We can have plenty to talk about.
And Ziad, I've sat in the background of many of your office events with your group in LA, so I'm very appreciative of the work that you do also.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you so much. Okay, Stan, who else you wanna?
Well, Ziad isn't always, loquacious. He's sometimes very animated. So if he doesn't like you, not only will he tell you to get the F off the stage, he may grab you by the collar and physically throw you off the stage. So with that, why don't we have Eric? Why don't you give us a little background on you and how you got into this?
Hey, everybody.
Eric, before you start, you have very big shoes to fill, my friend.
Yeah. I'm working on it.
I really do. Your father is a great friend. He's a real entrepreneur, and he's teaching you this at this early age. So you have a lot of big shoes to fill, my friend. Go ahead.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm just want to start off with very happy to be here, and I'm very appreciative of the opportunity to be here. So I started pretty much my sophomore year of college doing digital marketing for my father's business. And then as that kind of grew, spun off and started my own digital marketing agency. So that's where my bread and butter has been for the past couple of years. That's been my baby, as you would. So then as that went on, I started getting very heavily involved with foreign exchange, cryptocurrency, and a lot of different kind of projects. So now I'm actively trading and monitoring new DeFi and crypto opportunities and projects pretty much daily. And that's something me and my father and a lot of other people kind of collaborate on. And with that, blockchain technology is something that I talked about a lot last time, but I also believe is going to be the future. So definitely expect me to kind of integrate it with what we're talking about tonight, because it's something I've thought about in the past. So outside of that, we've got a blockchain security business that we're actually working on putting together, because anybody in the space for blockchain or crypto right now knows that there really aren't any steps for security. So we've kind of devised a new way to just put another level of security that's not there. And we really want to help people, because in the news you're seeing now, we're past the point of just being impressed that there's crypto in the news. Now you're seeing when there's large crypto theft, large crypto projects that are crashing. So a new opportunity to provide security in that field is something I feel would highly benefit a lot of people. And then outside of that, I'm very active in solar. The current plans that we have for power, it's just not sustainable. At some point, there has to be a switch to where we're having green power, and it's not as centralized where we have all these massive corporations dealing with the power. So I'm also working with a solar company, partially with their marketing, and then partially helping them with sales outside of that. And I'm very excited for that as well. So definitely have a lot of projects going on, and looking forward to talk tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Eric, I'd like to ask you a question, and the same thing I'd like to ask it to Steve, and I forgot to do that. And I'd like to ask this question also to one of the attendees. Eric, what can we learn from you? And what do you want to learn or get or acquire from us at FPC? Think about it. At the end of the day, it's a two-way street. We have to give you something of value, say, wow, I learned this from FPC, or I acquired these skills, or I made these contacts, or whatever it is. And what can you learn from you? What value added you can provide for us other than what you're doing or what you've done? Ways of, making more money, of getting more exposure to the FPC, to our message, to our agenda, because it's a way of life. We are freedom seekers. We are capitalists. We are of the old school, not like today's school of socialism and all this bullshit. We are radical capitalists. And you know what, when people tell me, oh, you know, you have to find some temper, some Democrat, I don't want Democrats. I don't want liberal. We are one party, okay, capitalist. Not
Absolutely.
Republican, not Democrat, we're capitalists. We're here to create wealth. We're here to create prosperity for ourselves, our families, our friends, etc. That's what it is. It starts with here, the FPC board and the project Liberty. That's where it starts, and it expands. And the more people we bring on board, the better. Think about it. A few years from now, we have 1,000 members like this, who think like this, who do business like this, who have this corporate culture, this ethos. It's deadly. We're unbeatable.
Absolutely.
We're unbeatable. So the question I have for you: what can we offer you? Be direct. Don't mince your words. You can say whatever the fuck you want. And what can you offer us? And I'd like to go back to Stephen with this. I forgot to ask him this. Please go ahead, Eric. Because I need to know. We need to know the value of each member. And if you're not there, okay, we will get you there, or we will help you get there. Of course, some of us are much younger, in their 20s. Some of them are in their 40s. Some of us are in their 60s. You know, so of course it's different levels, different experience, different exposure, different everything. So your needs may be different than other needs. So don't compare your needs and your wants to the others, because you are the younger generation, although very mature. Go ahead, Eric. In a couple of minutes. You don't have to do a whole spiel on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a definitely a great question. From the first FPC meeting that I came to, I could already tell that it was a very like-minded group of people that weren't afraid to not be like-minded. So everybody's thinking in the same sense as, you don't have to think like the other person, and
Exactly.
you need to be open-minded and get your opinions across.
Yeah.
Even if it's going to make the next person feel like, excuse me, but the next person's going to feel like shit, then screw them. Who cares? If this is a seriously important opinion,
you have
that's
to be
what needs to be
unique.
said.
You have to be unique with your values, exactly. And then if your values are really unique, are very thing, you will convince the others. So you will have a lot of people beside you. Look, this is not a dictatorship. It's a majority wins.
Mm-hmm.
The consensus of the group wins. You know, I'm just here a passenger on this boat like you. I just has been doing it for much longer time, and I've experienced doing it. That's all. But we're all together here. So go ahead, please finish your thought.
Yeah. So what I'm looking for is experience, and to learn as much as physically possible from every different niche and industry that's in this group. And to what I can offer to obtain that experience is really anything. The way I started working was, and started, you know, some of these businesses, and a lot of the skills that I've learned is I put in, I know I'm younger, but I put in a very large amount of time just working with people and learning as much as I physically could and sacrificing as much as I could to those people so that I could just learn some of those valuable skills. And some of which I'm still working with today. And I started very early on with, you know, obviously my father. And then there's a couple other companies that I'm actually part owner in now, that it started because I basically jumped at an opportunity where somebody was willing to teach me something, and I gave them as much as I physically could.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Eric, you're a very smart guy. That's awesome. Listen, if you come up with opportunities and you want to scale it, you want resources, you have the whole group here as a family. Combined, we have a lot of resources, a lot of experience, a lot of capital, a lot of relationships, everything, where we can help you scale this. So you have to think like this. You can't think anymore as, look, as Stanley said so true, Stanford, it's a team. No matter how smart you are, no matter how whatever you are, without the team, a killer team, you're not going to get there, or it's going to take you much longer to get there. Scalability is everything in a business, everything. The faster you can scale a business, the better it is for you, for all. Anyway, thank you, Eric. We come back to Stephen, please.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, so mine, I'm very clear. Again, I've read close to 450 books. So I have a system I built called a bullseye belief system about being targeted, specific. what I can teach the group is I am one of the best business development door openers in the world. I can teach you how to get to anybody at any level that you want to get to and position yourself. I'm not a door closer. So we try and build big companies. Like we're trying to win a Nobel Peace Prize in one company saving water. We're trying to win another one. Capital follows customers, Ziad. So my challenge always, it's not even the capital, it's the customer acquisition for really big ideas. But that usually comes down to operational support of finding good people who can execute big ideas. Capital's easy, ideas are easy, the execution is the art. And finding big people who can execute big ideas is the hardest part.
Brilliant, brilliant. I totally agree with you. So we're totally in sync, you and I. Okay, next, Stan. Stan, you're.
I'm unmuted now. Ali, welcome. Want to say a few words, please?
Hi. So I have to apologize as I am coming on this call right now from a manager's office at a mechanic up in Bailey, Colorado. So my son had ended his school year this year, and I went to go pick him up in Salida, Colorado, and we had an alternator go out. So we've been up here since about 8 a.m. waiting for tow trucks. So I wanted to make sure not to miss this. I am so terribly sorry.
Don't worry about it.
So I'm just jumping in here.
Go ahead.
So, and I'm not sure kind of where you guys are at or what,
Just background on you, Ali.
What's that?
A little background on you.
Okay, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I kind of have a really large varied background. Out of high school, I decided that I was going to go into athletic training and was going to pursue an ATC degree. So I was looking at doing kinesiology, massage therapy, things like that. Started off with some major league soccer teams and whatnot for the first 4 years. Decided about halfway through that medical school is not going to be for me, and kind of went more on an entrepreneurial side of things. Was introduced to large scale concert promotions and events and things like that, and kind of launched in that direction, which was totally opposite. But ended up opening a record label, a talent agency, ran that for a number of years.
Ali, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
What's more important than what you do? Everybody does something. Why
Sure.
do you do what you do? Why do you do what you do? What drives you to do what you do? What are you exactly seeking? What is the end game? This is what I need to know. We need to know about you. We need to know the real Ali, what's in your gut, not just on the surface where everybody sees. What drives you? What makes you do this? What is your end game? What can you provide the FPC? How can the FPC help you, empower you even more to do what you do on a much bigger scale? These are the questions I would rather have addressed than what you do.
Okay. Sure, absolutely. I've spent the majority of my career in the hemp industry and legalizing and wanting to push that forward, because a lot of my drive has been towards scaling smaller companies, obviously, into much larger companies, and have built a very large CBD company out of a friend's basement. And the goal for us was, in general, to help people, to try to advocate for health and wellness, and for people to push for their own advocacy, on a larger scale, for people to push for what they need. And instead of just accepting what it was at, a government level as to what they say that we need as far as health and wellness has gone. So that has been a large drive and a large part of my advocacy. I do have a special needs son, and that was a large push for me as well, to start looking into just local changes. What could be changed? How do we help them get what they need out of our educational system? How do we participate in that, and what the long-term outcome and effects of that are? And so a lot of that has been my drive and passion over, the course of these last 10 years. So as far as the FPC goes, I think that it's good that these conversations are being had. I think that having uncomfortable conversations is something that people tend to shy away from, now more than ever with how divisive things are with social media and whatnot. But I think that they're also practice conversations and being able to have that in a room with people that are just as varied and distinctly different. And like Eric had touched on, not having to necessarily agree with the person sitting next to you doesn't mean that they don't have a lot to offer and that there is a lot to learn from there. So definitely being a part of this larger group.
Well, I like your passion. You seem to be a very passionate person.
Luke,
So,
why don't you,
so do you, hold on, do you consider yourself an activist, a disruptor? What exactly? If I want to define you in one word, Ali Janish, what are you?
I really like that word disruptor. There's a lot of me that wants to vote heavily into that, but honestly, it's definitely, I feel like advocacy is a big, important part of it. It's being able to know that I, can speak loudly and speak confidently for those who can't. And I feel like that is a very large, position and passion in my life.
That's very noble cause. Yeah. Yes, Stan.
okay, Luke.
Yep. Hey, Luke here. So this is my first call, so it's great to meet everybody. And it's a pleasure to be involved. I am, testing the waters in the shallow end right now and seeing how, this call goes before really diving into the deep end. I know that may get hated on, but that's my approach for the beginning of the call. Maybe I'll be in the deep end by the end of it. But I'd say first and foremost, I'm a New Yorker, born and raised, and I'm a student of history. One of my favorite expressions is history doesn't repeat itself, but it sure rhymes. And so that's kind of my approach with a lot of things and how I, approach life and business. I am the founder of a micro mobility company. We have employees in 3 continents. And how I got into that is from the world of investing. I came from the hedge fund side of things, and we were investing in renewable energy technology, specifically battery storage. And so when we have a bunch of sun and a bunch of wind, what do we do with it, right? When it's not windy and when it's not sunny. And so that's kind of, in my opinion, the future of the world. And so I found myself an electric bike company, and we have a patented battery, removable and fast charging stations throughout New York City. And we're trying to expand that, not just to the United States, but beyond. So that's kind of my what. My why is to surround myself with smart people and opinionated people. Everyone has an opinion, but a lot of people are afraid to say it. And so it seems like there's no trepidation on that front with this group, which I already appreciate. And you can learn a lot about a person from how they approach a lot of different things, but more so how do they approach themselves and how they present themselves. And so I think it's going to be really valuable for me to surround myself with a new group of people, smart, dedicated, and definitely driven, like everyone on this call. And then what you can get out of me, I'm not really sure. You can get my opinion. I'm not going to be afraid to share that. As we grow our relationship with one another, you can definitely get my network, and then you can get my vision. And I think those are 3 important things.
Fair enough.
Good.
Fair enough. Thank you, Luke.
Last but not least, Sean.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Stanford, and thank you, Ziad, and everyone else. Very enjoyable so far in the meeting to hear everyone's field and just how unique they all are. I think it's an opportunity to just be in a room with such a diverse group of people. Myself, I am working mostly with solar companies as kind of a one-stop marketing shop to obtain data, interpret data, even optimizing websites and SEO. So that's the bulk of it. And in addition to that, more on the liberty side of things, I come from New York. My education was mostly in psychology. And if you know a bit about both of those things, you know that you get pretty much one set of opinions for one set of allowable opinions for most of my life, and then kind of coming to Florida and meeting new people and kind of being challenged. Like,
Sean, hold on. Sean, hold on 1 second. Hiba, is the chat box open? Is the chat box open? I can't hear you.
Yes.
Okay.
Already. yeah, already.
Okay, so that's your answer, Stephen. Go ahead, Sean. Sorry to interrupt.
No worries. So in addition to that, more towards the liberty, we're trying to build up a network of influencers who I think, I don't know if I had the term correct, but I loved what you said with radical capitalism, or
yeah,
what was it that, and I would describe everybody as that being the underlying thing, that they're a radical capitalist. And I think there are so many talented voices right now on the internet that just don't really know how to monetize. And because they can't monetize, they can't be sustainable. So one of the major efforts there is to kind of bring these people the tools of the marketing game, ultimately bringing enough people together where it becomes worth it for an advertiser, which is where we would come in on that. And ultimately build up a brand on our own is kind of my long-term journey now, and what I hope to accomplish.
No, that's awesome. You said something very important. You really got my full attention. Monetizing research, monetizing opportunities, etc. I wanna have you as the chief monetizer for FPC.
All right, I would love
Look
that.
at it very carefully. We are gonna redo the website, upscale it. You know, Stan and I are working with a top-notch person to do that. So finding always ways to monetize our thoughts, our ideas, our webinars, our live events, our activities, etc. I think that you would be the perfect person for that. You will find port of passion. This is how I believe you can bring in the most value to FPC and to its members and to its board. And in return, of course, we will assist you, support you in anything that you need. You know, you were referred by Tim, our good friend here, who we respect a lot and who's done a fantastic job and who's always responsive. So, you know, I think you said the right chief monetizer. This is your title.
I like that title.
Chief monetizer is your title.
I definitely appreciate that.
That's great.
And then in terms of just kind of scalable business, working also with e-commerce stores in a very specific portion. I've learned over the years that eventually I hate every client. And I just don't even want to be involved in these long, many year negotiations and just arrangements. So what we're trying to focus on is just the first few months of setting up the newsletter or the email list for these email commerce and integrating them with email marketing. And then we're gone. So from that perspective, at least in our blueprints, that's kind of our scalable product right now. But
that's awesome. It takes a special skills to do that. That's for sure. And I think we would be very happy to work with you on that. Because at the end of the day, we can have the best message in the world. If we don't commercialize it and monetize it, we have nothing.
Exactly. It's the lifeblood of everything. So if we can get that monetization, we got everything.
Yeah. Stan, what do you say? Stan, you wanna?
I guess I'm last introduce myself. I'm Stan Silverman. I am a thinker. I am a lover of people. I am a sponge for knowledge and new knowledge. I read about 10 books a week, and I am the Jack Benny of the Financial Policy Council.
I love it, Jack Benny. That's my favorite, man. Yeah. Where did you come up with this? I love it.
I love to get involved. I love to work with people because I have some very strong spiritual backgrounds. I am a member of an Indian order. I am a meditator, and I believe that every one of you has a spirit inside of you. And in order to manifest that spirit, you need to do something. And it's my job in working in the areas that I have expertise, which is education, in the area of direct response, in the area of social media, in the area of retail, but most especially in the area of education. It's my job to change people's lives. And I change people's lives by serving them. And by serving them, I show them how to lead and how to earn a living, how to change their lives, and how to deal with lower socioeconomic people who don't have a shit chance of accomplishing anything unless there's someone there to hold their hand and show them the way. And that is my lifelong job. And I'm using that job term euphemistically. It's a love, and I'm a lover, and that's why I called myself a lover. I love to help people, and I never ever think of it as work. And so I probably spend 6.5 days a week, working, and a half a day a week sleeping, a little more now, but than I did in the past. But I just love to do what I do, and I have a passion, which I think all of you will find as you work with me. I'll send you books. I'll get involved with you. I'm interested in you personally. That's just who I am. And also, I'm interested in wealth accumulation. I've been involved with Ziad now for about 7 years, and Ziad has helped me to finance a number of projects. And I came into this group thinking small. I was looking, maybe I could get $1 million or $2 million and put my money into it and grow something. And Ziad looked at me and he said, nope, $100 million. $100 million. If you're not looking for $100 million, you're in the wrong place. And so I scaled it up. And so I changed the paradigm. And now I look for large organizations to buy, groups to become affiliated with. I have a wonderful team. And with that wonderful team, I'm going to grow my businesses. I get heavily involved with the FPC because I believe I need to pay back. I need to do for everyone else what the FPC has done for me. And that is, it has given me the knowledge that there's nothing too large that I can't take on and to become successful. So
thank you so much, Stan. You've been a great friend, and I've enjoyed every day working with you, dealing with you, bearing my brunt and everything. Let me tell you my last thing, every organization has some character, okay? And let me tell you why I started this organization back in 2010. This is after the crisis of 2008. Everybody was giving up. The whole world was in chaos, bankruptcies, bailouts, all this shit. First and foremost, I am a total disruptor. I hate the establishment. I hate the status quo. I hate the bureaucracy. I hate the normal people. Normal bores me. I like the controversial, the mavericks, the disruptor, the guys who are going to piss you off to change the world. Very simple. This is what I'm attracted to. And I try to create people like this and make more people like this. If you remember or have read Machiavelli, Niccolo Machiavelli, The Prince,
Yep.
The book, famous. I'm sure most of you have read it. He's been saying the most important quote he has, more difficult than anything in the world, is to change the order of things. If you're not seeking to change the order of things, you're not going to go very far in life. You're not going to make money, a lot of money, because you're normal. You're going with the flow. Only dead fish go with the flow. You're going with the flow. Let's go with the flow. Let's not attract anybody's attention. Let's not make any waves. Let's not stir the boat. I don't want to stir the fucking boat. I want to break the boat and build a new one. This is what you have to be in life. So bold, so aggressive. As long as all what you're doing is legal, that's fine. You can piss off people. So what? They're pissed off. I don't mind the people who hate me And people love me because eventually, once the people who hate me get to know me, they're gonna love me. The worst is, you know what? Is not hate and love. Well, these are emotions that change very quickly. Is indifference. When people are indifferent to you, when you're like dust in the wind, you don't matter. Whatever the fuck you say or you think, it doesn't matter. You don't even exist on this planet. And you cannot be a total disruptor and not exist because you're creating trouble, you're creating issues, and people get noticed, whether they like you or they don't. So don't live your life trying to adjust, trying to be normal, trying to be Mr. Nice Guy because everybody loves you. I don't give a fuck if they love me or not. As long as I'm making an impact on their lives, as long as I'm making an impact on this world. This is what matters. Because even if they hate you, I'm telling you, they will start, a lot of people who hated me, now they love me because they get to really know the real me, my real DNA. What I'm trying to sell you here, be bold, be aggressive, be disruptive, dare. You live only once, dare. You know the worst thing it is? If at the end of your life you say, shit, I should have done this. And it's too late. You're too old to do shit. And you've done shit in your life. And the best thing when you're really old to say, God, I cannot imagine I have the balls to do this. I love it. And you start laughing, remembering those memories when you really rocked the boat completely and drove them all crazy. That's what you want to remember. The stuff in your life that stays with you. Not like I should have done this, it's too late now, I'm too old now. Regrets. Regrets. Be disruptive. If each one of you here and our future members is disruptive like this, but with a common goal, the corporate culture, we are fucking dangerous. And when you are dangerous, you're gonna make a lot of money, nobody's gonna fuck with you, and you're gonna go very far, as long as what you're doing is all legal. No cheating, no bullshit, nothing like that. Very straightforward. And the people who try to slow you down, oh, it's too much, you're dreaming. And people who tell me, for example, just to tell you, who do you think you are? God? So no, I'm God's brother. If you don't have this attitude, they're gonna dampen you. They're gonna put you down. And when they put you down, you start thinking, oh, I shouldn't have said this. I shouldn't have done this. You're not gonna go there. Every single fucking billionaire who got there thinks like this. I assure you that. And if you don't think they think like this, because they don't show it, because they're afraid of showing it, because they don't want to empower people to think like this. The government, any government, right or left, they don't want people to think like this because they want to be in control all the time. They want nice robots who will abide by their fake bullshit, their fake news, stay at home, put their fucking mask, watch TV, and shut the fuck up and take $1,500 a month. That's what they want, control. So as long as you don't realize this, and this is war. This is war between the wealth takers and the wealth creators. They are the wealth takers, we are the wealth creators. They want to take the wealth to control you. They want to give you this propaganda to control you, etc. It is war. It's always been a war. And people say, oh, you're paranoid. No, I'm not paranoid. You're a fucking idiot if you don't understand this. This is the rule of power, the rule of wealth creation, the rule of law. And when you have the power, you make the law. And when you have the money, you do whatever the fuck you want, legally. That's pretty much it. So I'm trying to say, nothing is impossible. Nothing. When I was born in Lebanon and came here, I was very young, Lebanese. I never expected that I'm going to be where I am today, because I was raised in a culture where you have to be nice and polite and follow the flow, etc. Fuck the flow, fuck all the shit, fuck them all. In the middle of New York City, I'm going to terrorize New York City. In my way, not terrorize them, you know what I mean? terrorize them in terms of know-how, in terms of contacts, in terms of doing business, etc. This is it, which is exactly the opposite of what my parents taught me. So I threw everything up the floor and I said, no, this is not going to work for me. But then I realized if I didn't have this in my DNA, etc. So when you try to protect your kids about this and that, don't protect them. Give them don't shield them. Give them the ammunitions to go and create their war, to do and make a difference. Every parent shields their children. No, it's going to be okay. I'm going to try to protect him. Who the fuck are you to protect him? You can't protect him. There's so many forces out there. The only option is to give him the ammunition. And I wish that my parents give me, I got the ammunition. I grabbed them by force, but not because my parents give them to me. I learned them. It took me time to do that. And if I had to do this with my kids, which I'm doing right now, that's what I'm doing. And I say to every board member here, to every Project Liberty, be daring, be bold, be disruptive. As long as all that you're doing is under the law, nothing is illegal, etc., you can do whatever the fuck you want. You have to impose yourself. There's 7 billion people in the world. If you don't rise above the pack, you're going to go nowhere. Nowhere. You're going to be submerged with all the fucking mediocrity out there. And this is how you create an organization second to none. Change the order of things. You're in this industry, fintech, you're in, I don't know, technology, or whatever industry you are, healthcare, change the order of things. That's what the other doctors say. Different, all the other technologies say. Look at the logo of Apple with Steve Jobs. Only one logo, be different. Today, people are afraid of being different. Well, what are they going to think about me? I don't give a fuck what they think about me. Even if they think I'm a ruthless son of a gun, fine. At least I have a label. At least they're not going to fuck with me. At least when they do business with me, they know who they're doing business with. Not like, oh, he's a nice guy. He's a nice guy. He's a nice guy. I'm not saying you shouldn't be nice, but not at the expense of losing your business, losing your security, losing everything. Not. It's something they don't teach you in college, in school, because you have to comply. You have to be a nice guy. You have to comply. You have to melt in. You have to, all of it. You have to melt in society. You have to be polite, correct, comply, all this bullshit. Everything they taught you, they teach you, I did the reverse. And the first years I was doing that, I said, it doesn't work. What do I mean it doesn't work? Take a job in 65, take my pension, retire. This is it. And spend all these years in debt, 40 years. This is making it. This is American dream. Have my fucking 1 acre house with picket fence around and a couple of dogs. I made it. Fuck, I made it. The sky is the limit. It's dominance. They don't teach you this. Neither your parents teach you this. Nor anybody teaches you this. This is the problem we have in the society, is that people are born, you have first to comply to what your parents say. Then you have to comply to what the principal says. Then you have to comply to what the people, your community, you have to melt, you have to be nice. Say. Then you have to comply to what, your wife says. Then your grandfather, then your father, then your community, then this. Now you're 60 years old, you complied all your fucking life, and you are nowhere. And nobody gives a shit about you and your life is gone. And instead of saying, I should have done this and remember these moments, oh, it's too late, my God, I regret this, I regret this. You fucking die with regrets, no money, no nothing. You're fucked. 99% of the people are there and they're fucked. And the few people who said this are the people take over the world, who do what they want within the law, do the research, do the analysis, etc. This is what we're trying to create at FPC. A fucking lethal laboratory of people who act and create things like this so that you are dangerous. This is not another non-profit bullshit teaching about economics, talking about history and trends and what the fuck Jay Powell, the Fed chair, thinks. He's a fucking idiot. All his policies, he's an idiot. We have an idiot. And the one before him, Janet Yellen, is an idiot. Oh, but you have the cult of the personality. You cannot criticize people like that. Warren Buffett, Janet Yellen, you know, all these, they're fucking gods. No, they're not God. They're gods in your eyes because you're a fucking moron and you're listening to them. Everybody, oh, the stock market is down. Oh, I'm going to sell my stocks. Yeah, I made money in the stock market. I went short. Fuck them. Fuck the market. You know, this is it. You have to think about ways whereby you make money, whether the market is up or the market is down. Shit. Well, not because some luminary at Harvard Business School who makes fucking $400,000 a year thinks he's so genius because he's at Harvard. Makes $400,000 a year, which is a fucking chicken shit compared to what you make trading these things I'm doing. Nothing. And then they tell me, oh, Ziad, you should do this. But who the fuck are you to tell me to do this? Because you have gray hair, meaning I'm going to listen to you? They think that because they have gray hair, because they have a position, a label, chairman of shit at Harvard or managing director of shit at Goldman Sachs, meaning the power they derive is from their title, not from their character. You want to work with people who derive their power from their character, not from their title, or Mr. Minister, or Doctor, you know, in economics. I'm Dr. Zimmer, the other gay from me. I don't know, doctor in what? Doctor in economics. So what? This doesn't make you important. You have no money. You have nothing. Who the fuck are you? Doctor. I'm doctor. It's like I'm gonna bow because you're a fucking doctor, or because you went to Harvard. You know, this is what people don't think about. They take everything on face value, and they honor people based on titles and shit like that. And this is why they're never happy. They're never satisfied. They never make money. They never make a difference. And they spend all their lives, they live till fucking today, 80, 85. They spend all their life like dust in the wind. What fucking impact did you have? How many people have you pissed off? How many things have you changed? Most of them, nothing. They'll eat, sleep, fuck, go to bed. That's it. That's their lives. I know, listen. Nobody talks like this, I know. Nobody dares talk like this, I know. Because it's not politically correct to talk like this. You shouldn't inspire people to think like this. You shouldn't empower people to think like this because they want robots. Well, but you know what? I don't give a shit what they think. My job, my mandate is to disrupt things to the maximum, not in favor of any establishment. All these guys, World Economic Forum, Global Reset, New World Order, I mean, disaster. Nothing is good about it, nothing. And I let you to believe, you know, like this fucking Nazi, Klaus Schwab, wie will prevail. He's a fucking Nazi. He talks like a Nazi. He acts like a Nazi. I'm going to listen to him and go to the World Economic Forum, jet setting with people who think all like this. No, I'm going to create my own world of people who think absolutely differently. Wake the fuck up. I mean, I'm telling you this from the bottom of my heart. You know, I'm not trying to be. This is what it takes to really make it. This is how billionaires think. This is how movers and shakers think. You think that, I'll give you an example. Look at Bill Gates, who dropped from Harvard, Mark Zuckerberg, who dropped from Harvard, Steve Jobs, who was fired from the company he founded, and he came back with a vengeance and screwed them all. What do you think these guys? Do you think the guys care what Harvard thinks or what this company thinks or what his board thinks? They're rebels with a cause. They're mavericks. And this is how they all became who they are. Because they think like this. Not because they're smart. They love smart people. But smart is not, smart without action, smart without disruption doesn't mean shit. A lot of physicists and Nobel Prize, like this guy, Kruger, Paul Kruger, the economics Nobel Prize. He's an idiot. Every single prediction he did was wrong. I don't know how they gave him this Nobel Prize in economics. Every single prediction he made and is still making is wrong. I can give you a list. I follow him very clearly. Everything is wrong.
Yes, yeah.
So that's how I want to close.
Yeah. Would you like me to invite Eric, Luke, and Alicia, Sean to our next maybe Z-Shark?
Yeah, of course.
Of course, yep.
We would love to.
Of course, and not just them, but also all the Project Liberty people were putting together.
That one with cybersecurity and everything was just so thought-provoking. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, exactly, Sean. Exactly. That's what you're trying to do. And Tim gets it. Tim gets it. This is what it was so provoking. Who does that? Then name me one nonprofit who does that, who dares bring people like this on board. They don't.
Yeah, Ziad, would you like to take some questions about?
Yeah, of course, any questions? Go ahead, guys.
The main topic, which is challenges to America's election integrity and policy, relevant recommendations for change. So if you
look, challenge is very simple. You have to think big deals, okay? You can't think we're going to start fund a company with $2 million and do this and that. You're going to sound big deal. You're going to be something that's so massive, so scary at the beginning that nobody's going to come challenge you. You're going to show them the box. You're going to show them the team, as Stan was discussing at the beginning. You're going to show them the team. You're going to show them the box. You're going to show them the vision and the why you're doing this. Any company we back, we have to know the why. Why are you doing this? What is the agenda? What is the thing? Yeah, don't hide. A lot of people say they don't tell you the real agenda. They give money. No. You have to expose. This is the agenda. The agenda is for you, Mr. Whatever, not to even dare challenging this, because you're already going to lose if you challenge this, because you have an unbelievable team, unbelievable backing, unbelievable vision, unbelievable laser-like purpose and focus. But yes, to address this in a very, very simply, you have to go for size, all of you. Stop thinking, oh, I'm going to start my little thing and do this and make a few bucks. No, I do size. The money can always be found. There's plenty of money out there, and for big ideas. So start thinking, as I told to Stan from the beginning, $100 million or more. Stop thinking $500,000 and $1 million. That's my answer.
yes, Stefan, please.
What I'd like to do, I'm going to start off with some comments, because I started looking at this a couple years ago. So I'm just going to outline some of my comments, and then I'm just going to close and listen to the group. Part of the issue is the government doesn't want to
I'm sorry,
solve
Steve.
this. I was on a panel with a bunch of government people. I won't mention
Steve, could you repeat? You come interrupted, please.
and well, I understand, but we were. Oh, I was saying that we had looked at this, Ziad, and I'm going to make 2 or 3 comments of what we had looked at, because the government doesn't really want to fix it. I asked the question very simply. I said, you could fix a lot of voter integrity with QR codes. If you look at a sporting event, it's one ticket, one butt, one seat. They don't want to fix it. We looked at blockchain for audit trail, just to be able to not only see, you can track to see if your vote was counted. You can't transparently see if it was counted correctly. So there's simple solutions. And my last comment, and then while I listened, I looked at the document that was sent, 58 pages, University of Pennsylvania, Wharton. I started reading it. I went, okay, let me search for QR code. I want to see what their solution was for QR code or blockchain in terms of audit trail. And that 58-page document doesn't say anything about QR code or blockchain. I closed it and I have no time to read something from people that aren't even talking about technology solutions that could solve a problem right now. So
because either they don't have the solution, or they are stupid enough not to find the solution, so they put it under the cover of the Wharton School. This is it. So they think that, like I told you the story of Goldman Sachs.
When you present them, when you present simple solutions that could be implemented, then you have to look at where's the blockage, and the blockage is either on the governmental side who doesn't want to fix it, or the capital who's funding. Like, this is a big problem, and some of the solutions are there. So I wanted to say that at the beginning that we've looked
this is
at
very good point, Stephen. This is very insightful.
Ideas are.
Stephen, this is very insightful. It's a very good. Are you still here? Did he say he's going to leave? No, I think. Stephen, are you here?
No. Okay. Yeah, guys, I'm here. I wanted to put that out up front because I'm curious on other people's ideas and what comes out of the collective group here. But even in the document, the fact that the document's not talking about legitimate technology solutions available today, I discounted a 58-page document because it has no relevance when that document doesn't even attack things.
Let me give you my 2 cents on this, and then I'll let anybody respond. You know, in life, there are things that you can control and things you cannot control. I never worry about the things that I cannot control. Like the government intervention, you cannot control this stuff. They do whatever they're going to do, especially in days like this. It's like pretty much like a dictatorship. This is what's going to happen. This is our agenda. You cannot control this. So the other stuff about the capital, no, you can't control this. That's very different. Of course, capital cannot be like capital a la George Soros or a la thing like this who are very liberal. But there's a lot of capitalistic, non-liberal agendas. All the guys like, you know, from Peter Thiel to a lot of people, lenders, equity investors, who for the right idea, sizable idea that fits their political agenda is fundable. We cannot control the government part. We can control the capital part. Now, the thing is that it has to be sizable enough so that you are not squashed from the beginning. If you're too small, they're going to squash you. They're going to create you a lot of problems. If you're very sizable with a kick-ass board, advisory board, management team, money-wise, etc., you know, they're going to think twice with doing that. But then the government, nothing is permanent. We still have maybe, I don't know how long in Congress, in the House and Senate. Well, we don't have much time. We still have some time in the president, but things change. Governments change. Governments that are more, you know, amenable to these kind of ideas will do it. So sometimes it's not the right time, but the idea, if it's a valid, powerful idea, it's always the right time. Sometimes it's not the right time, so basically you ride the curve if it's the right time, and you pause if it's not the right time. But not doing anything is the biggest risk you take. Not doing anything. That's the worst. Oh, I'm gonna think. All these fucking thinkers from the Ivy League schools, they keep fucking thinking all the time, but they do shit. You know, all what they do is, as you said, produce papers without really explaining why. They don't know what they're talking about. Oh, because it has the gloss of Harvard or Wharton or Stanford, this is it. It means they can get away with murder. It's not. People who make things happen are people who act, who act with the right, sometimes on the right time, but if you can survive the hard times, you can do very well in the good times. But not acting is the worst thing. Anyway, this is my 2 cents, but anybody want to comment?
In evaluating this marketplace, like when you evaluate any opportunity, you have to say, does it make any sense for me as an investor to get involved in issues of election fraud and invest in this area? And I've come to the conclusion that the answer is no. And the reason that my answer is no is, first of all, we're dealing with a $1 billion industry. The $1 billion industry is concentrated into 3 major companies of the 27 companies that are involved in the industry. Of the 3 companies, I think one of them is a listed company. Additionally, the government has already invested $3 billion in new machines. As of 12 years ago, the government made this investment. The money that was allocated, only 15% that $3 billion still exists today. And the machines that we invested in at that point in time are now outmodeled, outdated, and need to be
that's true.
So to get involved in investing in an industry, first you have to see that there's an opportunity. And if there isn't an opportunity, you need to abandon it. It's one thing to be passionate, it's another thing to be stupid. And stupid is investing in something which doesn't have a great amount of growth possible. And my evaluation of this industry, while I can't think of anything more important for a republic than having honest voting, right? It isn't something which is really open to an investor. This is something which is controlled by governments. And I don't see that anyone or any group is going to be able to change what's going on. It'll evolve, but it won't change. So is voter fraud real? Yes, it is. There's no question that there's voter fraud going on. Does voter fraud affect us all? Yes, it affects us all. Is there anything that we as voters and as investors can really do about it? The answer in my mind is no, except squeak a lot. If we had a more powerful media, that would be one of the solutions to this problem. But the media all leans left and they won't get involved in this area. One of the organizations that is involved in this, did a study, and they found somewhere in the area about 1,200 cases of voter fraud. But the consequences were a few people went to jail, but most people got fined $400. And there were 6 or 8 different states where the elections were overturned and new elections were made. The heritage.
I mean, look, I very much respect your opinion, but I totally disagree.
Oh, okay.
I'll tell you why. I totally disagree.
Sure.
So you're telling me this is the status quo, nothing is going to change, you have to accept your fate, go and bend over and get fucked.
No, I said you can't invest in this segment, but you can do something.
No. A disruptor basically changes the rules of the game. Look at Trump when he opened the Trump network, he's number 1 ahead of Twitter. Whoever said that this motherfucker is going to come in number of viewers ahead of Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, all of them combined? It was impossible. They control social media, they control the social scene, they have everything. Now look at the viewers with the Trump social. It's number 1 because
ours, Ziad?
Yeah, it's number 1 because Trump is a disruptor. Because Trump is a disruptor, a real disruptor, and he took on his team people who are as disruptors as him.
Yeah,
real disruptors can change the rules of the game.
They can.
I will never accept the fate or the destiny that this is how it is. They're too strong. They're too powerful.
Yeah, the market is $1 billion. In a $1 billion market, a small investor does not have a real opportunity to make money.
We're not talking about small investor. I told you, if you want to go after these big boys, you're going to have to start very big. Never start small. You have to start intimidating from the beginning. You have to start like a ruthless motherfucker, dangerous from the beginning. If you don't start like this in any industry, you're going nowhere. They're going to crush you. You have to have a very prestigious board, a very top-notch management team who can execute, and tons of money. If you don't start like this in any industry, anything, you are nothing. People don't respect you. They're going to crush you. They're going to steal you. They're going to do anything. You have to be the big 800-pound gorilla from the beginning.
I don't disagree with what you're saying. I do disagree that this is a real area for investment when you have other options to put your money.
I mean, I'm not saying, hold on. No, I think we're talking different things here. I'm not saying this is not a top priority list in my area, election integrity. Yep. I have many more things that are businesses that are much more scalable, that are much more profitable, opportunity costs, etc. But if for a certain reason I decide to go in that, then this is what I would need to go into that. If I don't find these backers, this team, this board, this money, these people to execute on that, I will not even tread the territory.
Then we're
Ziad,
but I'm not saying this is the top priority. That's not saying to stand this top priority. No, this is not my top priority. There's a zillion other things we can make much more money.
That's for sure.
If I could real quick, again, when we looked at this, I could put a team together. I mean, Nick Spanos and some of the top blockchain guys, Peter Thiel, like I know a lot of these guys. The challenge for us at the end became, even if you have a great technology, I'm like, okay, who's the customer? It's not the government, it's the legislature. Yeah. Because no matter what your technology is, it has to be voted in as a change.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, that's no longer a business proposition. That's a legislative political one, and it's a whole different situation.
Yeah.
But to your point, Ziad, if it was done with big people, and to Stanford's point, if people understood there's a new solution, better integrity, and the government's, if they force the government to demand it, you could pull it through. I don't think you can put.
I mean, look, hold on. I mean, look, there's always ways around. There's always ways around. I tell you, if let's say on the board, you have a bunch of governors like Ron DeSantis, like a dozen like him, on the board of that company, who insist on 12 governors on the board of that motherfucking company, then you're dangerous. With investors like Peter Thiel, like hardcore radical capitalists, with a board like this, think
they would have to push it through the legislative branch.
And Stephen, in a different time. Now is not the right time. You know, we'll see how the Congress, the Senate, the House. Let's say the Congress, the House, and Senate can come back, and all these guys lose, and you have that. You know, see, it's the timing, it is the people, it is the money, it is this. So you know, all the stars have to be aligned. If not, no, you're going nowhere. Don't even think about it.
Yeah,
I agree.
The political will and the political wins. If they change the way it looks like they're going, you can implement new solutions.
Yeah.
But that political will has to be there. This isn't a capitalist problem at that point. It's
if I can interject something real quick. Yeah, something you really have to consider in this is, do they want it to change? I mean, there are a lot of people taking advantage of this. And it could be that the behind the scenes characters really want to be able to nudge an election, and there are a lot of those people out there. And I think that goes to Stanford's point that, I mean, this is a dangerous market. It's going to be very difficult to make money, because even though your solution, and I agree, your solution appears to be a very good solution for eliminating voter fraud, but the question is, do they want it? I mean, and clearly we've seen in votes around the country, some people are voting easier election regulations, some people are voting more strict regulations, and they're talking across purposes. It's coming.
You're absolutely right. The answer is very simple. As long as the Democrats are in power, they don't want it. That's it. That's a quick answer, short answer. And as long as the Democrats are in power, and they are in power, White House, Senate, and House, you know, they're in power. So this is why the timing now, no way. You have to wait for the right circumstances if you're ever going to think like this. But now, no way. I would never invest in this, Stan, now. But it doesn't mean this is not like a forever problem. You know, America is a dynamic country, is evolving all the time. You have new currents, new trends, new governor, new things forming up. So, but now, no, I agree with Stan. But it's not an idea that's really out of the ordinary because there are a bunch of entrenched motherfuckers in power. Fuck them.
Yeah, there is a phenomenon here that you can play into. It's kind of like the legalization of marijuana.
Yeah.
I mean, you can once you pass it, it's passed forever. And Sean, I think you might be able to comment on this point as well. If you have a good election solution, once you've passed it, it stays there and it doesn't go backwards. I mean, I'm not sure what that phenomenon is. I mean, I know there's a name for that phenomenon, but it's kind of like jumping off the precipice. You can't jump back up again. if your solution is a good one and you can push it in Republican states or states that want strict election rules, then you may be able to get it there and stick. And then you'll have to wait for the Democratic states or the states that want looser regulations, since we're not political. States that want looser regulations, you have to wait for them to come around.
We're looking at the other way, trying to get the voter to understand. Democrats are big on emotional sound bites. They crush Republicans on emotional warfare.
Yeah.
You know, so this one vote, you know, your vote counts. I want to know my vote counted properly. Like to this day, you can't go see if your vote was recorded the way you voted.
Yep.
Like consumers need to demand technology. It says, I want to go see that my vote was counted the way I cast it. And when the consumers realize that, yeah, then the technologies can come through when the consumer says, why can't I go sign on? I don't want to know my vote was counted. I want to know it's counted properly.
Yes,
You can't do that today, and that's just that's irresponsible because it could be solved and they don't want to solve it.
Guys, this is very insightful, all what you're saying. We can debate this to death, but I think we have reached a conclusion with that, with different sides, you know, different timing, etc. So, but this is how you have to start thinking, whether this opportunity or other opportunities.
Let's get some other thoughts here. What do you think, Sean?
Just to Stephen's point, you're ultimately changing minds, and that's what's going to be so important with these kind of election fraud topics. It ends up in the media, and what we discussed is almost that you're foolish for thinking that this might be an issue. And that's what's been indoctrinated into everybody's head for, well, since January 6th.
And that's the wrong thing. When they say you're foolish, you're crazy. The biggest changes happen because of crazy people daring and doing it.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's where you have the opportunity of actually trying to change people's minds and hopefully make money along the way. But, you know, looking at this, when you have a global situation where democracies are on decline, 10, 15 years ago, there were more functional democracies than we have currently. And there's no shortage of elections. In a lot of ways, it seems like the more democracies fall, the more they have elections. And you see this with civil rights across the world as well as election integrity. So kind of bringing that point to America and normalizing this discussion is almost the ground floor of the issue. Something that I've been thinking a lot about, this quote, since we've been discussing things last time, and especially that is from Hamilton and the Federalist Papers. And I thought that this one quote really defined what we do here and what kind of is America. And that was that it's been frequently remarked that it seems to have been reserved to the people of this country by their conduct and example to decide the important question, whether societies of men are really capable or not of establishing good government from reflection and choice, or whether they are forever destined to depend for their political constitution on accident and force. And that's everything to me. And this maintenance of a functional democracy and what we have built in America is everything. And I think, to everybody's point, there are a lot of forces out there that are pushing this narrative that there is no problem. You have no right to be worried about it. But now there's plenty of reason, and I think we can do something about it by just spreading the word. Just talking about it in a public forum has a benefit to it, because right now that's being hidden.
Very smart, Sean. Very true. Very insightful. Totally agree.
Luke, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I was just going to say it's a really good segue. It's speaking about it in a public forum, and then, you know, inherently some public forums are better than the other, and some are already just are inherently written off, right? So like, what is Facebook's role in this as a public forum? Is it even a viable platform to express thoughts, or is anything you say there, no matter how true it is or untrue it is, going to be written off by, you know, the other side of it just because it's on there? So
Totally right. Totally right. You can't imagine the number of times they blocked me and they put me in jail.
Yeah, sure, right. And so it's like, and that goes from both sides of the fence, right? And so it's like, what tools do we have as a society, but B, as a group like us, with informed opinions and a little more data-driven kind of thoughts on things. Like, how do we get our message out? How do we portray, a right way of thinking in a way that isn't going to be inherently written off just from the platform that we're using, right? And so that's a good question for the group. I don't have an answer for it, but I would love to know, because media today is media, right? So it's like anything that's on Fox News or anything that's on MSNBC, no one's going to read it, right? Inherently, they're just going to look at the headline and they're going to see what platform it's on. And that's all they need to hear, right? They don't need to dive into the facts. So like, what is a way for that to be fixed? Because without that, I think it's just the same road that we're on for a long time. And, it's like dealing an uphill battle before the battle's even fought.
I agree with you 100%, Luke. The thing is that whether for this topic or other topics, how do we propagate our messages without creating red flags with all the social media?
Yeah,
because
and that's
our messages are very controversial, whether for this topic or plenty of other topics, which I'm sure we will bring in.
Yeah.
So how do we be an effective influencer through the nonprofit without breaking laws and talking politics, but talking reason and bringing in more facts, that are, absolutely right, and to get the message across,
again, for the social media stuff, we've been in this forever. That there's always going to be different opinions. I wrote that. When you get down to voting, which is kind of what we're talking about here, that even voting is inherently emotional, because you say, oh, there was no widespread fraud. And I'll say, you're right, it was targeted. There were 3 states and 37 counties that turned the election. It was very targeted. But the bottom line is, if you talk to an individual, regardless of their political affiliation, and say, do you want to know that your vote counted and counted properly? Then this removes whatever your political ideology is, whatever form of influence you get from any media platform. The technology can solve the conundrum of one vote, one person recorded properly.
Yep.
And that's not an emotional ideological premise. It's, do you want your vote counted properly, know it was recorded? Technology can solve that. And if the voter demands that, then the DeSantis and the Neoms and the Christies of the world will start implementing it in the legislative body and provide that transparency.
Yeah. I mean, the discussion has to be out in the public forum. You have to have people start thinking, start reacting.
In order to have freedom, you need to have the public involvement. If you leave it to big government, no problems will get solved. It is people that are going to be the foundation upon which America continues to thrive. And if individuals don't get involved, just as you said when we started this, Ziad, right? If people don't get involved, nothing.
100% Stan. And these are our constituents. These are our constituents, the public, an informed public, or making the public more informed to have bigger constituents and grassroots. Through our activities, through our webinars, through our forums, through our seminars, through our live events, through our writing, our blogs, everything. That's influence.
Yep. Eric, you want to say something?
Yeah, absolutely. I had a bunch of points while you guys were going, but there was just so many great points in so many different directions. I didn't want to interrupt. But absolutely, the biggest thing I think, especially, well, that I know would make a difference is transparency. Like you mentioned, Stan, but to basically eliminate voter fraud, you would have to have a system in place that made it completely transparent, to where, exactly like you guys were saying, you should be able to see that your vote, where it's going, at what stage it's in. And in my opinion, the next step should be completely public. Why should that be hidden? I mean, that's where a public ledger, for example, like Stefan was mentioning, and which I think we have a lot of similarities there with that thought process. A public ledger, there you can't hide that. You can't change it. You can't.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the information. The information is going from here to here to here, and there is no fraud. It's public. Everybody can see it. And in that case, you're also not just relying on the government to manage your information, because obviously that's not working. So in that case, it's really putting the voting in the power of the people, which is where it should be. Because the government shouldn't have control over our voting process entirely. I mean, obviously they need to be involved to an extent, but that should be public information. That should be a public process, and it shouldn't be centralized by one group, one government, or one company.
This is a very good point, Eric, and it's true. I concur with this. Look, we can talk about this for hours. It's already 5:49, 5:50.
Mm-hmm.
It's been 2 good hours, Hiba, we've been talking. I think we can talk for many more.
Let's get one more.
But all I'm trying to say here, this is the spirit, guys, we're trying to create. This is the goal for all the newcomers here, the Project Liberty. You're the first ambassadors to this. I call you ambassadors. It's our common cause: freedom, liberty, prosperity, wealth creation, opportunities, etc. So I hope you like what you hear.
Well, I'd like to have one more opinion here. Ali, would you give us your thoughts on this also? And I'm not going to leave you out, Hiba, either. So get prepared. You just went through an election in Lebanon.
Yes, true. That's true.
So Ali, you want to say something here?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, again, you guys hit on a lot of the, big points. I agree completely. I think that there is a lot to be said when we have 40 million voters that are living in states where, like you guys have mentioned, there's no way for them to have any kind of verified paper audit trail as to how they voted. Obviously, that's a huge problem. This week, I read a couple of different books, even outside of the ones that you had sent, Stanford, and one of them they had talked about, John Adams' quote is, "Liberty cannot be preserved without a general knowledge among the people who have a right and a desire to know."
I love
and
it.
Without that, I don't believe that there is going to be, I think that there is actually a consensus of people that do want to vote and do feel like their vote does matter and count, even more so than I think that what gets portrayed across media. I think the media wants us to believe that no one has any faith in the system at all. But I don't feel that. I think that it is about us making things accessible, making things transparent. However they do that, QR codes is a brilliant idea. I had not even thought about how that could be applicable, even just thinking about requiring voting and what that looks like in certain countries, but how far democracy has fallen back kind of to the wayside, where it's a lot more like mafia democracy than anything anymore. It's kind of like trying to figure out how to, break up the mob racket at the top. And what you had said, Stanford, really resonated with me, because when I was thinking about, how do we monetize that? How do we make this investable? I think a lot of the problems that we've seen in our voter system, whether it's the machines or the software or even random politicians making apps that all of a sudden are counting votes that for some reason are qualifying in states like Iowa and stuff, which is maddening to me. I'm not sure that there is room for capitalism inside of something that is supposed to be the structure of what this country is.
Yeah.
So I do agree with your point to that, Stanford, that I was like, I just don't know if this is where we're supposed to be capitalizing on, versus how do we enable people at every grassroots level to stand up and say, my vote is going to count and you're going to make sure of that. So, but what everybody said was absolutely brilliant. This was very, very enlightening.
I'd like to, ask Hiba, who just went through an election in Lebanon, and it's getting past Hiba's bedtime now, since it's approaching 12 o'clock. So Hiba, can you tell us a little about the election that just went on in Lebanon, and your feeling about the discussion today as a person who's living in a country that has some difficulties with the electoral process and with the people's right to vote?
Yes, actually, first of all, I think everybody has to encourage their group, their family members or friends to vote. When you need something to be changed, you have to vote, and you have to express this by literally voting. So you will have the change. Another thing I think is the system and the law by itself, you know, the law of voting. So depend, you know, it's different definitely from Lebanon or the States. However, I think also another factor that if you need your candidate to win, I think we have to work, as you said, on, first of all, on the campaign to support really the best campaign and the best candidate, not to have different opinions, different groups to support, you know. That's what happened in Lebanon, that they have different groups of oppositions, and you have, you know, I don't know if I can explain it to you, that we have the people who are already in the like running the.
So basically what you're saying, people trying to hedge their bets, you know,
so
work different groups so that whoever wins, they're on top.
Exactly. So unfortunately, we couldn't change those so-called leaders. I can't call them leaders, they are cheaters. So we have here, we lost confidence on those leaders. We lost trust. So this is very important, you know. So we have to believe that we need the change. Otherwise, we can't do anything. So voting and in terms of maybe funding the campaign, I remember when Donald Trump won the elections, it's all because of the digital campaign. It was very successful, and maybe for the future, we can follow this pattern, maybe, and of course, upgrade it, edit it, whatever. But I think there are so many things that can be done, and we can learn from other countries and other like successful stories happening. And it's that chance, you know, we can have now, we have 2 years to work it out in the States. So I think, yeah, you have plenty of time.
Well, one thing in common between Lebanon and the States,
yeah,
is the term limits.
Yes.
Because in Lebanon, the head of the parliament has been in power for 40 years. I mean, it's even worse. No, it's the same in the US. If you look at Dianne Feinstein or all these people in Congress, they've been there forever. 30 years, 40 years.
It's a career.
Lebanon. And this is it. You know, power does not, people don't relinquish power easily, and they won't. And that's the problem. It applies, term limits doesn't apply anywhere. Yeah. Neither Lebanon nor the States. So they keep bringing the same idiots, the same policies on and on and on.
Yeah, and the most important part is the ego issue. We have this problem, you know, when they are really putting their ego and their own benefits before the country, you know. So it's like win-lose as well. It's not win-win, you know. They should win, and they should make their country win as well. So
they don't care about their country. These guys are corrupt people. They don't give a damn about their countries, whether in the States or in Lebanon.
They put their
all what they seek is power. Or it's all power.
So that's
okay. We appreciate your feedback. Very thank you.
Well, I guess our 2 hours is up, and I think that today we've addressed the issue of election integrity, as well as whether or not there are opportunities to invest in this sector. I think one of the outcomes of today is once we have this video, I'd like to send this video out to all of the members of the FPC so that they can see how important these kinds of discussions are, and to really encourage them to get involved, to work for election integrity, working with the FPC, getting more involved so that we can do something, because in numbers, there's power. And if we just sit 5 or 6 or 7 of us and discuss it without disseminating this kind of information, then we haven't made our voice heard, and we need to make our voice heard.
No, of course. Well, one second, Steve. And Hiba, when you send it to me first. Well, I'll have the webmaster edit it, post it on the YouTube channel, then it can be distributed. Last video, we had 33,000 viewers then. So that's very good. So if you can keep the tempo, you know, that will be widely distributed. Go ahead, Stephen.
Yeah.
If I could, Stanford, and to the group, I love these conversations, and I'm fortunate I've done some high level ones. Two things. One, the reason I talked about the chat is a lot of times if everybody's in the chat, you've got external dialogue going in there that's as good. And Stanford, if you can, export the chat before you close it, because once this Zoom is closed, we lose all of that content. And there's extensional dialogue that could go in there that you also share with your members.
Good.
Because not everybody will get a chance to have comment on the Zoom, but this external dialogue allows more of the members to communicate. So I'd encourage people to do the chat and just export it so we have it.
Okay, so a question to Hiba, can you do that? Export the chat?
The chat I can, that means it's
the chat box, if you can export the chat and send it
to
me.
As the host, you should be able to export it.
Yeah, like certificate, send it to me along with the video to edit.
Yes. Well, in conclusion, I'd like to thank all of you for participating today. I think we had a lot of good discussion going on. I'd also like to ask each of you if you have someone that you'd like to recommend for the Financial Policy Council's group, the Project Liberty group. We have coming on board within the next few weeks another 19 people. And so if you have people like you, and I say like you because we're all involved and we want people who do things. So if you have people that you'd like to recommend, please do so. And Ziad and I, we'll get on it and get back to them and discuss it with them. So thank you again. And
thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. You're all great people, smart, insightful. I love your passion. Love it, guys. Let's go kick some ass.
Yeah, and don't forget to register for our webinar on June 2nd. So you have the links.
Yeah, I think they were mostly invited, all of them.
All right.
If not all of them.
And to our board members, Vlad and Harry and Tim, thank you so much for joining with us. It's always a delight to have our board with us. Have a great day, guys.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Stanford.
you.
Thank you, Ziad.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
What is this called?
Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Appreciate all your time and insight.
Thank you. Take care, everyone.
Thanks.
Hiba, so you'll get that to Ziad, and then we can share it with everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Recording.